he got bored with the classic barcode. He got sick of it, so he thought he'd go for something a little bit more interesting
Yeah,
to hide his identity.
it's the new ladder barcode meta. Very clever.
Flood GM with Mystery Man. I'm keen.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see how he actually plays because a lot of the games against Rex have been pretty clean wins for him too. It's been 2-0 to Rex, 3-0 to Rex. So it doesn't give me a whole lot of confidence in Mystery Man. I sometimes wonder if those games tend to be quite short when they're that convincing. In the past, there have been players when they come up into a ZVZ and they're not feeling too favored, that's when they're more inclined to all in and just go really ham on the aggression to see if they can get the win that way. So we'll have a learning experience here as we figure out what Mystery Man's ZVZ looks like. As a player, statistically in general, he's pretty well rounded. You know, he's got pretty positive win rates. So I think he's definitely going to be another one of those players where we say he's one to watch for future EPT seasons.
Yeah, potentially so. But once you move into that top eight, once you start moving in towards the playoff brackets and some of the more difficult series, that's where those really nice win rates for these up and coming players start to look a little bit more sad and start to tank a little.
I'm curious to see what the tech choice would be on this map. You mentioned we saw a lot of mutas, especially in ANZ Champs. Yes, this is a little bit of a different region, but this is quite a big map. So I think it does lend itself to that airplay a little bit. If you can imagine doing a roach push across here, it might be pretty slow going, but
Wow.
a great start here from Rex so far.
He's just got two freebies. It's just handouts here from Mystery Man. He's the man in the trench coat on the side of the street. Don't take any of those free handouts from drones. Rex is apparently grabbing them all. And unfortunately, that's not something you want to be seeing, just losing a couple of drones to the slow lings rolling into your natural.
Yeah, it's kind of like the Reap attacks, right? In TVZ, you never really expect to see workers killed. It happens once in a blue moon. But yeah, a bit of an unusual case to lose two drones early on to the slowlings. So we see a couple more pokes here, both players trying to get rid of those bottom ramp rocks as well.
He does at least deny the scouting for the time being. I believe it was a earlier Bane nest there for Rex, and in the meanwhile you do have the Evo chamber and the quicker lair tech up, and he's going actually into ranged attack upgrades, so maybe a little bit of roaches here.
Yeah, it would look like you go straight into the roach speed from this point. It times out nicely with that +1 missile. You can move across the map and pack a pretty big punch against your opponent and hopefully be able to get through their defenses. Likewise, we may see Rex now go into his own +1 and head just a little bit more slowly into the roach tech if that's his choice, because he is going for the faster third base. Now that said, he's actually opting for Carapace first, and there's quite a few units in the production tab.
Well, just to keep people updated, I did see a lovely message from Mr. Light over there on the B stream that But Always has 2 owed Go Joey. So I believe winner of this series, if I'm not mistaken, does go on to play But Always for that decide match, right?
I think no, that was a lower bracket match, so I think
that was a lower bracket one.
That would be
The
up
loser.
against Yoga, as that's Group B.
Okay. Got the groups mixed up.
Yeah.
Speedlings, though, on top of Slowlings is not ideal. He's going to be losing that queen for the injects, so handful of the drones under a lot of pressure here, and not enough fighting units actually to be able to deal with this at the moment.
Bit of a sticky situation here for Mystery Man using those transfuses, but it's not quite enough. He does use the drones to help block a little bit and fight for a sec. Loses 7 of them, and it loses the drone that was looking towards building that third base. Rex is really giving him the runaround here, now transitioning into his own Roach Warren and continuing to flood Lings, realizing that Mystery Man really doesn't have a lot on the ground here.
26 more Lings in the production tab, and that's a bit of a nightmare. He's already dropped a handful of drones. Rex, on the other hand, doesn't actually have that many drones. He's looking to inflict the damage and continuing to pick off these roach numbers before they get too scary. one little Ravager being morphed in there as he does finally push away the Lings.
Yeah. Well, at least for the moment. I mean, there's more roaches in production, but I think the other problem for MysteryMan here is that Rex has now sniffed out what the strategy is, right? He's seen the tech, he knows there's an Evo there. Obviously, if you click on those roaches, you can be like, aha, you've got yourself an upgrade. So the more he delays MysteryMan, I feel like the less options he has, because that push probably won't work. I mean, the Roach Warren's finished. He can just pump out a bunch of units if the backstabs aren't enough to keep him at home. But he's also behind in the economy, so he kind of can't stay at home. It's a really rough position to be in.
Yeah, off the back of some of that Ling damage, Rex felt comfortable enough to add quite a few more workers to his arsenal of the economy as he starts to saturate that third base, gets himself that lair finished up a lot later than his opponent. But aside from that roach speed, not a whole lot of tech coming out here for MysteryMan. The man is just very much happy to sit on these tier 2 units of the roaches rather than going into anything like the mutas. He's really pumping out those upgrades, adding yet another Evo. So potentially looking to see the man stick towards this ground base approach. And rather than the muta strategy for either opponent, it does seem like they're both quite happy to stick towards that roach approach.
Yes, the classic ZVZ strategy of roach headbutt. It really hasn't evolved too much in some ways. You know, sometimes we see Muta slip in and out of the meta. Sometimes it's a lurker day, but for the most part, the bread and butter continues to be roach, just with the addition of those Ravages, of course. So Rex, again, bravely moving forward, testing the waters here, maybe looking for an opportunity to slip some Lings past, but he's got more Ravages on the front here, and he's got the Lings closing the distance with these roaches. This is a beautiful engagement for Rex so far, and MysteryMan now trying to run away from this roach cluster from Rex, but great target firing, good jukes on those biles as well. MysteryMan retreats to the spines, which will add a lot of damage, but the roach numbers are dwindling. I'm not sure if MysteryMan has enough to hold on here.
Yeah, the Lings were really the difference maker there, just getting around the roaches, inflicting so much DPS and soaking so much damage up. At least MysteryMan does have the defender's advantage, so a couple more roaches starting to rally in could be the difference maker. But now that you see some of these Lings actually starting to reinforce here for Rex, he's getting on top of things, he's continuing to win these engagements, and I think it's just a little bit too much to handle here for MysteryMan.
GG Rex takes a nice game number one. Great control of the pace there with his Ling flood, or can we call it a Ling flood? Ling aggression, let's say, in the early stages of that game, and just using that to pump his economy and get that nice juicy roach count. Really textbook ZVZ from Rex.
Yeah, I think, like you said, applying the pressure, he didn't overdo it in terms of the economy. He kind of just wanted to get it to that point where he's able to saturate and leverage that third base about as efficiently as possible. And as soon as he feels comfortable enough securing that third base and getting the maximum utility out of that, he just moves straight back on the front foot, goes into the roaches and the Ravages himself. And I think the Lings really were the difference, not only in terms of the early game, but also in terms of just wrapping around that army so beautifully and holding it in position. There was no fallback option there. You saw MysteryMan, all of his army was just in that one clump, whereas there was a little bit more freedom for Rex to move around, get a little bit better of an arc, and actually have that chase potential. There was no, falling back in behind some of those choke points for MysteryMan. He was kind of just held in position there.
Yeah, a difficult time. I mean, this wraparound is just so good, makes it hard to run away, not taking a good engagement because your roaches aren't even firing on the roaches of your opponent. And I did love the addition of the spines, that can really make or break your defense, but they're just a little bit too late and a bit of an awkward position to have to back up into that sort of no man's land between the bases. But a valiant effort from MysteryMan. I think he's just going to have to come up with something a little extra for game number 2.
Oh, I'm just looking at the replays, and even on the replays, every time there's just more and more Lings that flood in and soak up more and more damage. And like you said, the big problem was just all of those Lings inflicting so much damage, soaking up all of the DPS from MysteryMan's roaches. And unfortunately, he's down 0-1 in this series, so back up against the wall here.
That's exactly right. We'll give these players a few minutes to regroup. We're going to go to a break, and when we come back, it'll be game number 2. Don't go away. Welcome back, folks. It's time for some more CVZ action. We had a fairly straightforward game number 1 there between Rex and MysteryMan, with Rex taking the 1-0 lead. Surprising, I think, very few people, unless there's some really dedicated MysteryMan fans out there, because Rex is looking very favored. And if that first game is anything to go off by, I think this could be a 2-0.
Yeah, he looked pretty comfortable, decision making on point. I think that's something that I'm noticing from a lot of these Taiwanese players, whether it be some of the Protoss players or even just looking at Rex in that game. Usually the way a series seems to go is one player is a little bit more decisive than the other, and he's usually the one who wins. You know, he's getting assertive, he's getting aggressive and making things happen.
Yeah. Well, I think it's just that veteran experience that we're seeing come out here. And because this is the final match of Group A, the winner of this is also going to make it into that playoffs bracket. So really important one here for MysteryMan to win. But he's up against this man in the bottom right in the blue, looking real good in game number 1. It is Rex.
And over on the other side of the map, he's a little bit more inexperienced of a player, but let's see if he can complete the reverse sweep and go through to the next stage. It's MysteryMan.
Very cool. I don't think MysteryMan is on a team. I'm just having a bit of a search. I always look at the clan decals. I'm like, do we just not know the team? Or is he actually teamless? But cool showing for him nonetheless. You know, if he is flying solo at the moment.
It says on Wikipedia he's teamless, but I never know how much to follow those. I don't know how much people are really delving that deep and updating some of these profiles.
Yeah, there's some people that are pretty on the ball with keeping that sort of stuff up to date. But I think maybe MysteryMan's new enough that he hasn't really made splash and got noticed yet. So hopefully, if there's any people looking for some fresh new StarCraft faces to add onto their team, they might take note of this gentleman who's made it into the group stage here. That's no small feat within itself. But different opening here from Rex this time around.
Well, he did a pretty good job in that last game, just applying a little bit of pressure with a couple of those slow links. So keen to see if he's going to do that. You see the pathing over towards the left side to avoid some of those overlords. And that's not what you want to see for MysteryMan. You know, if you do see those slow links sneak into position and snipe another couple of drones, it's going to be like flashbacks.
Well, MysteryMan has a massive brain, and he sent the Overlord there in the right direction. However, Rex's brain was just ever so slightly bigger, and he managed to just barely dodge that vision. So once again, he should be able to get in here undiscovered. But that said, there is a defensive position there for MysteryMan with the Queen and his own 4 links. So we shouldn't see 2 drone kills again this game, I don't think. Hopefully I didn't just jinx him, but should be pretty straightforward to deflect this.
Yeah, one Ling pulled back pretty nicely as he's trying to trade a little bit better in terms of that Ling on Ling trade, but with the Queen firing away in the back lines there, he's able to deflect it. And although there were those 2 drones down there, once again, right for the pickings, unfortunately a little bit more on the ball this time around, won't fall to his last transgressions. Was that the Baneling Nest cancelled? Yeah, Baneling Nest cancelled there for MysteryMan after cleaning that one up. Interesting decision.
Are you sure about that? That always makes me nervous when they cancel the Bane Nest. I wish I had that confidence in life, you know? Especially
in this situation in the tournament, you know, you're down 0-1, tournament life on the line. I guess he's going to rely on the Roaches instead of the Banes.
Took the words right out of my mouth. Yep, exactly. And also, I mean, he did take a bit of a beating from the Lings in the last game as well. But, you know, that's why he's a pro and we're just sitting here talking about the video game. He knows when he can cut these corners. And he's actually gone, again, straight into that Roach strategy. The +1 missile. And we're seeing the Roach Warren and Lair follow that up as well. Second Evo there. I'm not sure if he's going to pop an upgrade on that straight away. It is useful as the wall nonetheless, even if you're not going for the double ups right off the bat here.
Well, once again, it's the Roach approach from Mr. Mystery Man. I'm a little worried about that because I think, if he doesn't have that link count to be able to sort of bolster his forces and he doesn't get up to that critical mass of the Roach Ravager count where he's able to just roll around and sort of hit those multi-prong engagements once we get up towards those 3+ bases. That could be a bit of a difference maker. Insano just pointing out a couple more gases being taken as well as a lair being headed up into from Rex there. So maybe a bit of a Spire approach this time around, and he does get popped down there.
Yeah, you called it. And this is one of those scenarios where, Spire can be preceded by a bunch of Ling aggression. So I guess it's good that having cancelled that main nest, he also made the wall in case Rex had have gone down that pathway early on. But yes, opting for the Spire tech. And this rush distance on this map isn't necessarily that long. So if you do get caught with your pants down here and you're just completely unprepared for Spire, you do have the opportunity to sort of counterattack, force him to use the mutas defensively and try and do some damage while you get organized at home. We are in a phase where MysteryMan is starting to do like a few drones and a few roaches. I'm not getting the vibe that he's super committing to a push here. So he may just have to play quite defensively for a bit, because once the mutas are out, you kind of lose the ability to make much of an attack on your opponent.
Potentially so. 4 of those spines coming up here for Rex as he wants to try to buy a little bit more time for the mutas to come up. Doesn't want to lose to any roach pushes coming out of the blue and catching him off guard. And those 4 spines finishing up will have given him the time to get the couple of mutas out and start to work down one of those big roach pushes if it was coming into the fray. But was not the intention from Mystery Man. He is just happy sitting back there. He's got a 10 worker lead over Rex, but will he be able to maintain it once the mutas come out across the map?
That is the big question, isn't it? We'll see if that drone count remains in the lead for MysteryMan. I mean, Rex will be able to catch up a little bit once he's comfortable with the map control that he's got. Looks like MysteryMan's pulling a bit of a Rex, trying to go around the side there and just meet these units, surprise him, does poke him out of the way. Few overlords that can be cleaned up here for MysteryMan. So got to watch that supply block a little bit, but it looks like he's okay so far. And this is going to be a lot of mutas from Rex.
Yeah, he's just going to start running around the map, popping a couple of those blimps at the moment. No real response just yet from Mystery Man. He's putting down a couple of spores, but as I do say that, he chucks down that Hydra Den and grabs himself an infestation pit. So starting to reactively add some more tech out there to be able to deal with this. He does cop that supply block, the first of potentially a couple here.
Yeah, it's always a bit of a pain in the backside when you're the non-muta player. It's hard enough to sort of have any sort of map presence, and on top of that, you're getting supply blocks while you're trying to macro up and solidify your position at home. So we do see the Hydra range upgrade coming in straight away. The infestation pits finishing up as well. The Lings and mutas actually combined to take out this spore. And there's a good opportunity here for some damage from Rex. More queens and spores coming in, though he might actually lose more mutas than this is worth.
He's really committing to this one, trying to focus down the high energy queen, and finally the spore and the high energy queen does go down, and the majority of the queens actually going down as a couple of roaches just counter-attacking in there into a couple of the bases here for Rex, and he really doesn't have too much at home to be able to deal with this. He's going to have to pull the mutas back to be able to deal with these couple of roaches. A nice little move in there from Mystery Man. Not only does he pick off a couple of drones here, but he keeps Rex busy and tries to pull the aggro away from his side of the map.
Did not love that move from Rex on the other side of the map, not gonna lie, but it looks like he's got this on lock. Ooh, I love the use of the burrow there. Rex just wasn't prepared for that. Unfortunately, no burrow moves, so you can only chill out here for a little bit. The Overseer will put an end to that momentarily, but not before he loses some more drones. So a nice little counter damage from Mystery Man. Also keeps all those mutas at home while he starts to get some Hydras out on the other side of the map.
Yeah, Rex not really respecting all of those roaches in towards the burrow. He actually just transfers the drones right on top of him and pumps another 10 into the production tab for the ones that he did lose. In the meanwhile, like you said, Hydras are out now, so Muta's going to be less of a worry here for Mystery Man, and do start to see some Banelings come into the fray here for Rex. Keen to see if he's going to stick with this Bling Muta approach, whether he does try to go up into some different kinds of tech or transition a little bit.
This could be quite a scary push here from Mystery Man. He's actually looking a lot better this game. I think the economy is what's stinging though. Rex, if he can keep enough units to wipe out this army, that's it. I don't think Mystery Man has another trick up his sleeve. He's just not going to have the time to consolidate his forces. But when he comes towards that third base, the Muta's wreaking absolute havoc over at Mystery Man's base. He's just going for it now, realizing he can't keep dancing around with these Mutas all day. And I do wonder if these Mutas might have to come home and clean up. There's not a huge force on the ground here for Rex.
No Baneling speed either, so he wants to try to get the Banelings on top of the Hydras. If he can clean up the Hydras, then maybe he can come in later. A couple of burrowed Banelings actually getting those Hydras, the majority of them going down, and now it's going to take is just the Mutas to be able to come out here. The burrow from the drones as well. He doesn't have an Overseer in position, and now the Mutas just swoop back in to be able to clean up what was left.
Oh my goodness, so sick. Those veins! I love the use of the burrow once again here from Mystery Man, but he's just not got a lot left to work with. Kills 18 drones, possibly could get a couple more here. But when the dust settles, I like Rex's position a bit more. He's still got map control. He's still got a few more workers than his opponent. And he still has that third base, well, fourth base, I should say, that he can mine from. We'll need to rebuild the original third base.
I'm not sure if these Hydras are going to be good enough to hold on against the Lings. I like that he's backing up into the choke point, but he needs to try to defend this third base here, Zeph.
Yeah, he really can't take too much more damage. The Hydras, they seem good on paper, but there's just so many Mutas with that attack upgrade that they're going to smash through this Hydra force. And that is going to be GG Rex with a 2-0 over Mystery Man, maintaining his